All right, here we go. Welcome to Midlife Lately with me, Greg Scheinman, and my co-host Jon Finkel. This week we're talking, well, about the weekend. My son was home from college for the first time, so I'm going to share what we all did to make it a great time together as a family. We're going to break down my Viewpoint column on how to not be a conversational liability because midlife is too short to be boring. And Jon's Manologue on what life would look like if you had an unlimited Costco expense account. So trust me, this one is as entertaining as it sounds. And if you are not already in, I don't know why you wouldn't be, okay, but let's get you in. Make sure you join the 30,000 plus midlife men reading the Midlife Male newsletter every week. This is where we share the access, insights, A-list interviews, and relatable, credible, and aspirational stories and recs across all six of our F's: family, fitness, finance, food, fashion, and fun. It's no BS, real talk by midlife men for midlife men and built to help you maximize midlife. Jon, good morning. Happy Monday.
Dude, clean shaven you. This is I like when you decide to just go all in on the clean shaven and then I never know what I'm gonna get. Grizzled veteran Greg or like fresh face Greg. This is nice. Nice surprise.
Welcome to Fresh Faced Greg Monday. It's part of, the reentry protocol for me.
Yeah, you delayed it a little bit this time.
It was a little delayed gratification, yes,
Yeah.
because I do always have, I have immediate remorse right after I shave the beard.
Yeah, for years now you have immediate remorse.
I have it like all that. I'll grow it and then like I'll love it. And then it'll get past a point where I'm like, okay, this is like too gray, too old, too much beard, going on. And rather than make the appointment to just go like get it groomed and see a professional,
Yeah.
I don't do that. I want the instant gratification and I have the clippers and I go outside and the next thing I know, everything is gone. It's just how I do it. And we start over from scratch. So
Yeah, I
there,
can't grow a beard, so I have no I never have to, I have a patchy. I was at my nephew's little league game or baseball game this weekend, and my niece, he's a twin, just looks at me and goes, "Uncle John, your beard's balding." And I'm like, "Yeah, my whole beard. I have no hair here. My beard started balding like years ago. I have face balding going on these days."
we all have something. That's not the thing that I have. 10 days, I'll be back to feeling like I'm like where exactly I kind of
Yeah.
really, the middle being the sweet spot. And then
Yep.
after that, it starts to go downhill. So how was your weekend? First, no flag football sideline brawls
Oh,
this
uh,
weekend?
yeah, no brawl. In fact, the that whole situation, the coach, the other coach of mine actually just gracefully took his kid and himself off of everything for the last 2 weeks, which was good because me and the other coach and my brother, we have three of us, were like, what's gonna happen? Like, is this gonna show up with his kid? Like last time he was here, he was pulling like a scene from Oz on the field, like clocking another kid in the face. But luckily, we didn't have to deal with that. We did have a long flag day on Sunday at the field and got trounced, which is just the worst feeling. There's
Hmm.
one team that just rolls through everybody as you know, you've coached when there's just nothing you can do. All the kids look like they're 16, but my team's 12 and they're taller and stronger and faster. And so you'll appreciate the game ended and all the other teams have been mercied that they played by halftime. We hung in and didn't get mercy till about the last minute. So when we were leaving and we were tired and exhausted, we got some donuts on the way home, and then my son decided they weren't enough to assuage our getting pummeled. So we went home, and my wife was out with my mother-in-law, and my daughter was at a friend's house, and we made gigantic donut ice cream sundaes to wash away the loss. I should have taken pictures, but I was like too tired and hot. And so instead of an actual proper early dinner, we each had about a 2,500 calorie donut ice cream sundae.
That actually sounds glorious.
It was amazing.
Can I call an audible for a quick second since we were talking football
Yeah.
for a quick second, and I'll try to keep us on time here. But Sunday, we had a recommendation. I had a recommendation for the J. Crew Ludlow suit
Mm.
on there,
Yep.
and I got an email. I didn't even tell you this yet. I got an email from a reader who was very disappointed in me, who
Really?
says that he reads the newsletter every week, really, and loves the newsletter and is really a big fan of you and me, but he thought it was an incredibly bad taste and horribly tacky to make a suit recommendation or make it about me
Uh-huh.
around a funeral.
Okay.
that the can okay that the but track with me on this because I get these things like Sunday morning, like Sunday
Yeah.
morning I wait for responses to the newsletter to see
Yeah, I get them. I get
like
comments. Mine are a little
what
lighthearted
happened.
though.
Yeah, and this one came in and he was like, to take something as sad, or as a friend's funeral, which was the father of a friend. And anyway, it doesn't matter. But
Yeah.
to take the situation, or the occasion of a funeral, to turn it around and make it
The
about you
photo
going
shoot.
and buying a new suit, okay? And how good you looked in your suit, and that the J. Crew suit, okay, fits perfectly off the rack, and your waist hasn't grown, and the reasons why I needed a new suit and everything. I didn't put that all together when I was voice memoing this in the car on the way home from J. Crew and then
Yeah.
dropping it into the newsletter. I didn't
So
connect
it's
the
funny you
potential
say that.
insensitivity.
I usually have a pretty good editorial eye for this stuff, and I'm gonna say yes to this person. However, I thought because it was if it was your friend's funeral, in poor taste, like I was gonna say, like, dude, it's your friend's funeral, don't turn it into a photo shoot. Your friend's dad, to me, there's a degree of separation, so it's completely fine to tell like the real world scenario about it. It's not someone you had a direct lifelong personal, or maybe you did, but like I thought about that, and my thing was it's a degree separation from you. It's not a funeral that you're going to be particularly
Yeah.
mourning. You're being respectful to a friend, and so you can tell a little bit of the real world. I didn't have a suit. This is what happened. But yeah, I mean, I guess the funeral to photo shoot path is not one I anticipated getting too much feedback on, but I thought about it, and like I said,
I
it was a degree of
respected the
separation.
comment. I respect the comment. I do. I
Yeah,
respect the comment that he took the time to reach out.
yeah.
I sat on it. I have not replied to it, yet. Also, I'm like the guy who wants to reply to everything and also immediately. And you're always like, why would you reply to that? Like
I
I'm the
always wait 48 hours, and oftentimes by then I don't even want to reply. And if I do, it's always like, "Hey, man, good point. Didn't really think of it that. Appreciate you reading." As opposed to like, "Listen, I look great in a suit. I don't care if it's my best
yeah.
friend's funeral. I want everyone to see it. God damn it."
And at my own funeral, I'm going to look
Yeah,
incredible also.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
anybody can do whatever they want because it's a celebration of life,
yeah,
not my death. I'm just calling that out right now. I hope everyone has a photo shoot at my
yeah.
funeral, and I hope everyone looks fucking incredible. But I track with this comment. I get it. My kind of point or thought process along the way was in this midlife lately thing. Like I have not worn suits in years. We
I
buried
agree.
them up
It
in
all
the
made sense to me.
upstairs closet where everyone has one where you don't want to throw shit away, but you don't really wear it or do anything anymore.
Right.
I had none that fit me. So here was the solution that could do this. And other guys may find themselves in a situation where you need something very fast,
Especially for a funeral. Yeah, I have one.
especially for a funeral or whatever it
Yeah,
might be. And it's one of the only suits that comes where you can get the pants basically pre-sized, waist
yeah,
and length, and in there without having to deal with a lot of tailoring. And same
yeah,
thing with the jacket. So the crisis was averted, if you will.
yeah.
The
Yeah,
bigger
I think it
crisis to
speaks.
me would have been going there
Yeah.
in inappropriate clothing.
Yeah, I think also like it speaks to how much you care about fashion. I think there's probably a swath of readers who are like, you can do this at Men's Warehouse for 25% and like really quickly. And that was my first thought when I read it. I was like, I probably wouldn't even think of JQ. I'd be like a J. Crew. I just need to get to a close Men's Warehouse where I can get something off the rack quick that fits. I always have an
And
issue,
that
like you
statement
do.
right there hurts my heart. I just want
That's
you
what
to
I'm saying, right? Like
that
I
one.
know you. That's our difference. Like
I would have
I
rather
don't
worn
think
a
this.
more casual suit,
Yeah.
okay, or almost anything else I had in my closet than put a Men's Warehouse suit on and show
Right.
up
I
in public in
agree.
front of 500 upscale Jews, okay? There's no way I'm walking into a temple,
Yeah.
okay, in Houston, Texas with this crowd. I'm not doing it.
Greg, are you wearing are you wearing is that the MH brand that you're wearing into your suit? I agree with you. I thought about that and I'm like, as I get older, and this is one of the things that I kind of have things we've been building this for a while now and friends for a long time that you do stuff and I'm always like, Jesus, I never once would have been like, let me go to a nice suit place and do this. What's the fastest, most efficient place? And I actually think you're right on this, but I was just thinking that my first thought was like, I need a suit in an hour. Men's Warehouse near me, Google, I'm in, give me something quick and cheap. But I actually think you're
I
probably way
I am
cooler
a
than
big, as you know, I'm a quality over
that.
quantity person also.
Yeah.
I think like, what is it? Like measure twice, cut once, is the same. All that. If you go quality, and maybe I picked this up even in Italy, the one thing I picked up from studying abroad when I was 21 years old over there is that you could not tell the difference between the guys who picked up the trash like as
Yeah,
a job and the guys who ran big businesses. Because the
that's
theory
always
even
good.
over there was they dress like they may have one suit, but
Yep.
it's a great suit. Now the
I agree
wealthier
with you. That's what
guys
I'm
may
saying.
have more. So when the credit guy goes out, he's on the weekends to go out, he has his one perfect quality suit and it could last a lifetime. But they just value quality, fit, fabric, tailoring, all of these other things.
Yep.
And hey, for what it's worth, is it the most important thing in my entire life? No, it is not. But
But
is
now
it
you have a
but
suit
is it
stuff.
but is it important for me overall, whether
Yeah.
that's a suit or jeans or whatever it is? But anyway, I called the audible because I just wanted to share with you that that was the comment that
Yeah.
I got this weekend, and it was the one email that I've kept open on my laptop to like, do I want to reply to this 24,
Sometimes
48
you just
whatever hours?
write, fair point. We don't think of every angle here. Appreciate it. And watch the Midlife Lately show where John, our editor in chief, thought about it and thought because there was 1 degree of morning separation, it was cool to show the photo shoot. If it had been a direct friend or relative, I probably would have said, like, maybe hold off a week. But I thought it was within the morning fashion zone that we want to hit, right in, right in
Morning, but morning with a U. It was in
morning
the
with a U, the
morning with a
morning
U.
fashion
Okay.
zone. Yeah, yeah.
Got it. Okay. There's a gap, there's a separation where there's enough morning separation that you could actually do this.
2 degrees. It's like your cousins, right? Like you can marry like an eighth cousin, but not your second cousin, right? So it's like first and
I
second,
don't know
third
that.
cousin are off
I don't know.
limits. I don't know
Something,
what
I
the
think
rule would
there's
be,
enough
but
people in the world that you can go way beyond any
yes.
kind of
Yeah,
cousin
yeah.
separation.
Yeah, for sure.
But you always immediately think to the one cousin of how distant she was that you actually did like when you were growing up, and you're like, could I? I
We
can't.
didn't live near anybody. I didn't even have any of that. We went to
I had the
one beach
reverse.
reunion.
I
Yeah.
actually went out with a girl a couple of times, only to then be told by my parents in high school that we are distantly related to her. And my question was, how distant?
Yeah. How pretty and how
Because
distant. That's a
she's
sliding
really
scale.
cute. How distant? Okay, because I'm kind of into her right now.
That's so funny. Yeah, I'm willing to risk goofy kids. That's how hot she is.
Not that willing. Okay, we'll bring us back on track. Harper was home this weekend.
Yeah, I saw it. That's awesome, dude. It must have been like, I mean, your house, it was empty and the empty nest thing and quiet to like a boy back home.
First weekend that he came home because we've been out there a bunch. And it was part of like, that I shared this article on optimization. It's funny that you and I were both talking about like writing about this
Yeah,
over indexing of optimization that is going on out there. And
yeah.
and it's ridiculous. But this weekend was like, I would say the most optimized weekend you could have without
Scheduled
doing
everything.
anything that falls on the spectrum of true optimization.
Okay. So how did that work? You mean you had nothing scheduled, did cool stuff, or you kind of knew what you wanted to do and just kind of floated through them?
I think he was so happy to be home and just have his own bed and be in his house and
Yeah, I
like eat
remember that feeling.
eat our food and everything else that it was like glorious. So I picked him up from the airport at 1 o'clock in the morning on like Friday. Because he had classes all day Friday. So he
Yeah,
flew out, and with the 2 hour time difference, so well, I
yeah.
picked him up. It was really, I guess Saturday morning, but it was Friday 1 a.m. Got home. So because he got into bed, I got back into bed. Nobody in our house woke up before like 10 o'clock in the morning,
Oh, beautiful.
which never happens
Yeah, of course.
overall. And Kate went like bonkers on the like salmon and bagels and eggs and bacon and like
Do it up,
welcome
boys
home my
home.
baby. And I was the total beneficiary of
Yeah,
of him coming home. And then John, we sat on the couch for like 8 hours.
beautiful.
We watched the runarounds.
The
We're gonna
runaround.
put it in next week's newsletter. It's this Amazon Prime series about a band, like
Oh
a
yeah, I've seen the
school
trailers for it. Yeah,
high
yeah.
school band, like on the summer. It comes from Outer Banks. We binged watch the runarounds,
Awesome, dude. I love that. I
eight
love that.
episodes in a row on there.
Those are the best days. Spontaneous laziness is my favorite.
It was fantastic. I finished them Then I did a 5 mile ruck afterwards because I felt like I needed to do something active
Yeah, of
on
course.
there. And then we went vintage clothes shopping and for
Now
dinner.
that's something I probably wouldn't do with my son, but I know you two would enjoy that.
He's super, super into that, and they opened up a new store. But that was like the whole weekend, and it was the
Perfect
same
day.
thing. Yes, same thing yesterday on Sunday. He was supposed to leave at a 5 o'clock flight, and we pushed it to 6 a.m. this morning. He's like, I don't want to leave just yet. He's like, if I can take a 6 a.m.,
I
I'd
get it.
get
Yeah.
back to LA in time. I could still make it to my 9 a.m. class. So the same thing basically all day on Sunday. Just sat on the couch, watching television, hanging out. We ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner basically at home.
That's the
All
best, man.
I
It
don't
reminds
think
me of
Kate
like
left
those
the
old snow
kitchen.
days. Remember you'd have a
Yeah,
snow day and you do that and you'd be like, why don't we just do this?
it was so good. It
Yeah.
was so good. I don't think seriously, I don't think Kate left the kitchen. We hung out, we talked about everything. Like he was super happy. And I dropped him at the airport this morning at 5 a.m. So
Beautiful.
I haven't put my eye gels on yet. That's
I don't have eye gels. I just
for
have a
another
bad
podcast.
swimming goggles suntan that I got going on
No,
here.
no, mine I like to do the depuff. And
Oh, all right.
yes, apparently it's acceptable to wear eye gels now on a podcast
On
show.
the pod
Just saw Jen Wiederstrom, Gunnar
for
Peterson,
men or just
them
women could
on
do
their
it.
own podcast. They were all testing out all these new under eye gels. So
My wife got me some free like caffeine puff ones once, maybe 6 months ago. And I tried to put them on and got the gel in my right eye and couldn't see for like a day. So that was my one attempt at those. I've never tried them again. And I'm kind of right now I'm very nervous about it. I literally like I thought I lost my vision. Whatever it was
for
CoQ10
listening,
and
Philip Thomas Roth under
uh-huh.
eye gels. You can put them in the refrigerator so they get
Oh,
a
that
little
sounds
chilly,
good.
which is really nice. Put them on when you're having your coffee in the morning.
All right.
Fantastic. It'll take a couple of years off your life. There
I'm
you
gonna try that. I always have when I swim now that I'm getting older and I because I swim on like Sunday mornings, I'll have like the goggle lines till like 2. Like
go.
you swim, I'm like hours ago.
That's why I went to, we'll keep playing this game too. That's why I went to those third eye experience,
Yeah,
third
those
eye.
are ocean. I can't do sprints. I can't do them in like a real,
You
real.
can't do them in your races, but for all the pool
Yeah.
workouts and the stuff I do, I don't
Oh, they're
like the big
perfect for
shiny
that. Yeah.
goggles because they dig in so much. This
Yeah.
is more like a mask, which is
Oh, they're
and
great.
you've seen
Yep.
it because I think I gave you a pair in
Yeah.
Jacksonville. But they because they hug the tops and the bottoms, they don't dig in and cause all the same
Yeah. I
puffing.
wear them for all the ocean swims I do. They're fantastic. But for sprints in the pool, flip turns and everything, they just even as tight as I can get them, they're not streamlined either. They when you're coming off and it pushes right
Yeah,
down.
they're not for
Not for
racing like
speed.
that,
I'm
but they're
built for speed. They're not for speed.
I need peripheral. I like their
Yeah.
in the pool
Other
workouts and all the
ocean swims are
vertical and the depth
amazing.
and stuff that we do. They've
Yeah.
got great peripheral vision. They're
Yeah.
awesome for that stuff.
I love
So,
them.
all righty then. We
Yeah.
covered a quick number of product drops in there too.
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
Links in the show notes as everybody says.
As they say. Um, we don't have a conversational liability between the two of us. We could
No.
talk but that was the viewpoint. This
Yeah, it was funny because it came on the heels of a couple weeks ago, the small talk one that I did, Make Small Talk Great Again, which was great because we weren't doing the show yet. But when you first read it, you were like, I love this because I hate small talk. And I was like, I used to not like it, but I've embraced it locally. And when you wrote your article this week and I was reading it and you mentioned like that I had mine, the distinction in the talks was that like I was talking about like people you see regularly around town at the supermarket, like your local just random times where you might have a conversation and learn something. And then in yours about conversational liability, which is not an angle that I was thinking in mind particularly, but I 100% agree with you on is at these like corporate events or get-togethers or retreats or even just whatever time you're kind of thrown with strangers. um, there are people who are just, I always call them, my kids always joke, I call them a long day. There are people who like a few minutes feels like hours. If you get stuck in like a 15-minute back and forth, you literally can feel your life getting sucked away from. They're just zeros. They're just zeros across the board. And so that was what you were talking about. The people who instantly suck energy from a room versus who you said in the beginning, I liked your open a lot, which is like a great compliment you can get is that guy always brings something to the table, bring him to the party versus you don't want this guy here. He literally is a black hole of energy and conversation.
Yes. Well, I have a point of view. Yes, I do
Yeah.
on on these things, and because it's so clear.
Yeah.
It's so clear, and I think that in life and in business too, it's like we do have choices because it's not just in the personal, like
Yeah.
bumping into people or seeing them. I remember this even from like my corporate time where even you would have certain client, like you'd see the number pop up on your phone and you
Oh,
didn't want to answer, you didn't want
yeah.
to take it immediately because you knew it was always going to be some kind of complaint or something was always wrong, or
Yeah.
even their interests were stuff that you weren't interested in. So even if it was an invitation or anything, or you had to entertain a client and you knew that what they wanted to do was not even what you wanted to do, all these things bring me back to that. Ah, then it just becomes so hard to have a conversation or find anything interesting about the whole thing that's in there. So whether it's personal or professional, what I really wanted to point out in here is that we have choices actually.
Yeah.
You have choices in who you choose to be around or invite to be around, or even who you choose to do business with too.
Yeah. I
Like,
think
and
one of
where
the
you
keys,
find those
yeah.
people, like when I shifted even how I did business development to try to do business development in places that I actually liked going, where there were people that I actually liked. And then you connected the dots. Well, I could actually potentially do business with them also.
Yeah.
In that conversational aspect, fine line between like going to these places and becoming ostracized because you're only there to generate business. And then you ruin the places that you actually like going
Yeah.
and the people. Like you got to get good at that stuff too.
Yeah.
But if you're not interesting and you're not interested
Yep.
and you're not curious, and then your people are not curious about you because you don't do it. Like it just sucks. Like it just seems
Yeah.
like a really, really boring way to go through life. And again, why would you want to be around people like that? And if you're one of those people, why would anybody want to be around you?
That's the question, people need to look in the mirror about. I feel like most of the people probably listening, instantly which side you're on. There's probably like a self-delusion for some people, but if you really look in the mirror and go, am I interesting? Would I hang out with me if I had to? You know what I mean? And it's not so much like, are you charismatic? People have different personalities, they bring different energy, but like, do you do interesting things? Do you have a depth of knowledge on enough things you can carry a conversation? And it isn't about like specifically preparing for this. Like it has to be stuff that's natural to you. You can't pretend if I'm with someone who's into the opera, I can't that's an area I can't pretend and I'm not going to like fast study on, right? But like if you
Okay, but
can,
if somebody's interested in opera and they're passionate about it and they can tell you a good story about it,
of
you might
course.
find them interesting again
Yes.
also.
Right. So think about that way, right? So let's say you meet someone at one of these events and they go, I know it's kind of odd or whatever. I get that most people aren't, but I'm into opera. Your one choice could be like, or what you said in the first thing, be interested or interesting. Go to the interested part and go, what's that like? I've never liked it at all. What do you sit through it? What's the big ones? Do you go to the city? Are there blockbuster releases? Like, are there favorite
Never
soprano?
been. Okay, walk me through what it's like to be an opera
Right.
fan. Like what
You
the
can fill a
any
conversation like that if you're interested.
yes,
I agree.
you
Now
can.
I'm not, but you could be interested in that, and then you can have fun with it. Do they have sports operas? That might be fun.
Well, I think one way to also determine whether or not you are the potential conversational liability or whether you're an asset or a value add is if we took certain topics off the table
Yeah,
and said you can't talk about certain things.
yeah, and I actually
What
pride
else?
myself
What
on
other
that.
arrows do you
Yeah,
still have in your quiver?
you could take
So
out probably the top three things
career
people
off the
know. Yeah,
table. Right.
yeah,
If we take career off the table, you can't talk about what you do.
yep,
If you
yeah.
take even family off the table, you can't just default back to your wife or your kids, and
We
everything.
were talking at the event the other day with some of the guys, like obviously, naturally, sports fan, whatever for me, you can remove that completely. And I have many, many times because of just the various groups I'm in, especially in the literary publishing world where it's lots of dorks. You got to be able to not even rely on. Yeah, of course, it's great when you go somewhere. You both followed basketball or baseball or football. That makes life super easy, as we discussed. but you also have to be prepared for no one here even knows what the Super Bowl that it's even on right now, or that it might be on, that it's coming up, or they don't care about March Madness, whatever you might like in sports. So you have to be able to do that. And another area which I think is interesting, you've been a guest on a zillion podcasts. I've been a guest on a zillion podcasts. Sometimes you got to carry the conversation. Sometimes instantly, like, this is going to be on me. This is a strength of mine. I'll carry it. And at some of these events you're talking about, or some of these people you run into, if it's a necessary thing, you just shift to like, oh, I'm actually not going to get that high where they're like really interested in me and care about me. I'm going to carry this shit. And that's how we're going to do it.
Yep. I think though the takeaway there for some people is, hey, think about what are your go-tos?
Yeah.
And if your go-tos are always, again, this is my family and this is what I do for work and this is what I'm
Yeah. Pick up
okay. What
something.
what else do you have? Whether it's sports, whether it's books, whether it's hobbies you have, whether
Fishing,
it could be
piano,
candle
chess.
making,
Yes.
okay, technology, it could be health, wherever else it is. Okay.
Yeah.
What in the spectrum could you add to your conversational arsenal that makes you
I
when
love
it
when you run into someone who's like into so when someone is so deep into something totally unique. I'm like, maybe it's from like my past like journal and stuff, but I'm instantly like, oh, you build model trains still? Like, let's talk about that. You've got like $50,000 of trains in your basement. All right, like, let's go. What's that all about?
uncovering their information that you did not see coming is is one of those things. I'm like, oh, okay, got it. Take me through that one, Bob, because I had no idea
I
on
met a
that.
birder the other day. I was just like taking pictures where I walk around where my son's like rec leagues are. It was the most fascinating. She was talking about the warblers and the aranengegas that they have here with the snake birds. Like, I could have listened to this person talk about birds because they cared about birds and they had the pictures on their phone, their big like long lens camera. I don't care about birds, but I cared about birds for that person because you could tell how much they cared about birds. It was cool.
Which might mean that it's going to make it into a future Manologue, which is awesome
Very, very much
because
so.
of
Yeah.
you have great stories. You got great stories. You got great BS. We can put you at any end of the table, and you'll find something to talk about. And this week was another one of those.
Yes. This week's
Unlimited
mail.
Costco expense account, PA on the Man Show, going
Yeah.
back into sharing this experience. I want to ask, first of all, where do you where do you fucking pull this stuff from? Like, do you have like I picture you like with one of those little like old things we used to have with ideas, like the index
Yeah.
cards, like all in a row and all filed by like topic and stuff. And here
Uh,
are my man show stories, and here are my swim stories,
yeah,
and
I'm
you
not
just like
nearly as
flip through and
organized.
pull out a card, take it to the coffee shop with you, and be like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna write a story on this card today. And
That
that's
sounds
my
like such
my
a great idea.
assignment.
I should do that. That would actually make this a lot easier in my brain, organizing these stories. That one, the idea for it came, honestly, some of these just, a lot of it is great having a curious kid. We went to Costco and my son wanted to buy all this stuff. And I just started telling him, like, yeah, I used to work on this show. And I'm like, I know you're going to get jealous, but I could get everything. There was no no. And I started talking to him about it. And then he was like, wait, what? And he didn't know the mansion. My son's only at 13. And I just started talking about it. This is actually really interesting because when you get in line, it's just a row of people who, whatever they got, they wanted like 10 times more, right? Like, you always leave, even if you're super wealthy and you've got 5 grand of stuff in your 3 carts, you always want more. And you always wish you had someone helping you. And you always wish you had that. And for a brief time in my early 20s, when I was a PA on the Man Show, I had that. I had anyone who, if you haven't read it, I was in charge of staffing a major like cable TV show of 90, 150 people or whatever it was. I used to get a van, a credit card, an assistant, and pallets. Not even carts. Like, I didn't even deal with carts. I showed up, I let them know I was coming, and we had 2 pallet jacks and pallets. And I would go along with these 2 guys trailing me. I can't remember their names. One of the guys did it every time with me. He thought it was like the funniest thing. Like, and it was just like, yes to all the things you think of, all the Halloween candies, the big things of Twix and the Hershey's and like the M&Ms, both kinds of like peanut butter and chocolate, like everything you'd get. And then the Twizzlers, all that. But for me, it was always like the cereal aisle that was where I took so much pride because that's where like as an adult, you're like, Cinnamon Toast Crunch and Fruity Pebbles and Honeycombs and Frosted Flakes and like the Twix, like the Trick cereal. Like, yeah, we'll get all of them. And then the gallons of milk. And so I just like, as it would happen, I would snake through this thing. And I used to always go first thing. It was like a Monday or Tuesday morning. So, most people, Costco's busy times are after work and weekends. So I did it because it was sort of empty. But whoever was there, the looks of awe they would give me as I would just be like picture me running down the aisle, just shoving things in. And then I would take pride in the fact that I used to have this fantasy that I'd be coming back on the 405 and there'd be some crazy accident, sadly, and we'd all be stuck there for days, but I could feed everybody because I had a van full of Costco.
You mentioned now I think of Costco, I always also get this frightening kind of like because Kate actually likes to go to Costco. Like we don't go on the unlimited budget. I got like that you had back in this day.
Oh, no one has it. Yeah.
But she's tried to get me to go on weekends because you mentioned like when Costco is
Oh,
busiest.
forget it.
This has
No
been
chance.
like an ongoing like riff
I
for a
will not
while.
go on the
Now,
weekends.
now we're past this. That's the my other rule is I will not go with you on the
I'm
weekend.
not going when Jen pops there. I
Right.
can go at noon on a Tuesday and just
There it
cruise.
is. Exactly. Why would we ever go on the weekends? That's when people who have no other time in their
Right.
lives go to Costco. Go,
Zoo.
we have plenty of other times. And by we, I mean specifically you, Kate, have plenty.
Yeah.
So I don't even need to go to this. I'm not like a huge
Yeah.
fan. She can shop everywhere and enjoy it. But I was like, this is not a weekend I don't activity for me. I don't work all week, do everything that I do
To go to Costco.
to then on the weekend, let me go to one of the busiest places you can
I'm
go
with you.
with general population in a most crowded park, all of this stuff, and go do that for like 2 hours on the
So
weekend.
I'm going to tell you right now.
Sounds
So, yeah,
awful.
I go once a month, maybe, not on anything scheduled, but about average is about that. I go after my son finishes taekwondo. He and I go. I think it closes like 8:30, whatever it is. We roll in 20 minutes before it closes. Grab a chicken bacon, a hot dog, a cart, roll through there, get like and it's not like that. Get like the 7 or 8 things we want and out of there in 30 minutes. Nobody's there on a Wednesday night when it's about to close. It's past like the post rush work time. So that's when I go. I'm with you. I can't just driving by a parking lot at one of those places on a Saturday. I'm like, no, I'm not going to
No,
spend
it
7 hours.
it tightens me up if you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
yeah. So when I used to
And
go,
we don't do it.
that was another thing. I didn't wait. So if you ever go to Costco, there's a row of all the things, and usually, depending on how it's laid out, on the left or the right is the employee section. And employees have an area where they can buy stuff, or at least they used to. This is already 15 something years ago, 20 years ago. I used to go out that exit. So I actually parked where the loading dock was. I parked my van in the back. And when everybody would be waiting in line, even on the times that I went, there'd still be people. I was like, see you all suckers later. I'm gonna go over there. I'd get my own scanner, my own thing. I had my like black, whatever, like Costco black, whatever membership card it was called. And it was just a luxurious time. So if you're a dad and you go to Costco now and you're stuck getting goldfish and sippy cups and all the crap that you don't really want, um, take a look at this. Let me live vicariously through. I was living vicariously through my past self, reading and writing this piece.
I don't know how the entertainment industry is run today.
I
Like
can't
what
imagine they let people
I
do that.
can't imagine it's the same free for all, okay,
Dude,
that it was back
I
then.
mean, the other runs we would make were insane. I remember we would order lunch. Remember, like Mr. Chow's, like those like trendy places on
Yeah.
Sunset. Like every Friday was Mr. Chow's for 30 executives, and we go spend like 3 grand on this place after floating the kitchen every week. And I remember running the numbers in my head coming home one time. I'm like, I think I've spent $47,000 at Mr. Chow's this year. How is that a responsible way to run a budget for a major TV show? I don't imagine they let them do it now.
I had when I was at Miramax
Yeah.
right out of college and I was working on Harvey's desk before the
Yeah.
whole world collapsed and turned,
Yeah.
for good reason, on there.
Yeah.
That we had his Amex basically.
Yeah.
And it was a similar thing. It was like, okay, we can never go out to lunch. We can never do it. You're on 24/7. But we're
Right.
ordering from Nobu. We're ordering
Yeah.
from Tribeca Grill downstairs. We're ordering everything. Tower Records was a big deal back then.
Oh yeah. Right
And it
on.
was, laser discs and CD, just ordering everything. I mean,
Yeah.
these were like the unwritten, if you will, perks of the job. If you were on
Yes.
the writing
I
staff,
ate at all the same places
yes,
they ate because I would just add my meat.
yes. And
Right.
even the travel, like last minute, like, hey, we're going to the airport and we're flying out and you have no time to pack or anything. You'd literally call the concierge at the hotel and be like, hey, I need clothes. Put them in my room. Like, go to like Banana Republic, whatever. You
Yeah,
could do
that was his. I
anything.
didn't. Comedy Central didn't have that budget, but we were close.
We had that when you were at Miramax in the 90s.
Yeah,
Certainly, you were on Harvey's desk. It was like nobody looked at a thing. You could do anything
you could
you
order whatever
wanted
you want.
back then.
Yeah.
And not even the stuff we bought, but the gifts that would come in for him, for everything.
Did
Like there
you
would
guys
come
get
in a,
miles when you had to do runs? Like you would get to charge miles to the company for like, because that was how they gave us bonuses. Someone would be like, "Oh, this producer need back then when you could before you could send files like this producer needs this VHS tomorrow. Who hasn't gotten like a bonus basically, and you'd be driving like way the hell out past Calabasas, and it was like I don't know, you made $2 a mile or something back there, whatever it was, and you'd all of a sudden just this trip would actually get you net you like $360 when you were
oh,
only
I
making
didn't have that
$100
because
a
Harvey
week.
always had a driver. I was just
Ah,
always
yeah,
sitting
yeah,
in the
yeah.
back
That makes
and I
sense.
had to carry Diet Cokes with me and True Blue cigarettes and like all his stuff and
Nice.
bags of scripts. But we had the card to get anything we wanted
That's
basically
awesome.
at any time. But the other part was all these gifts would come in, like gift baskets, congratulating
For
what
him,
or
yeah.
whatever. And there would just be shit that showed up like every day to your point. And
That's
the
cool.
like the gluttony I get and the excess
Yeah.
was like so overwhelming in the 90s in entertainment. But he like couldn't care less about like any of these things, right? So
Mhm.
we would all like just divide it all up. Like, okay, oh, you take this one, you take this one, you take this one. Like to open this stuff and tearing it in, it was bonkers.
I'm
Absolutely
with you. It
bonkers.
was a really interesting time to be in Hollywood. We separated probably by 5 or 6 years, but I think it was the same mentality, where it was just there weren't rules for how there was nothing tracked. I mean, at least that where I worked at a couple shows and nothing was tracked. I mean, you could just do anything you wanted at any time that they needed. If they, we got some crazy stuff on the Man Show that cost so much money, and it was like go, 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 order, order it, get it, get it, get it, and like
It
Corolla,
was
those guys,
really
yeah,
funny though now. I can go back.
yeah.
Like all of us are middle-aged guys now. Like when we bring it all back around, it's like we're all middle-aged guys, and it's so funny or interesting to see how different everybody also is.
Yeah. Oh, well, those
Like
guys, I
about,
mean, yeah, completely
yes,
different. Well, I think Corolla's probably the same. Jimmy's obviously different, but
Corolla
like,
is pretty close. Jimmy has completely jumped
yeah.
the shark and become a
But when I think about just think
Harvey
about
will
from
never
a
get out of
culture
prison for the rest of
perspective.
his life. I mean, some of this stuff is just like, holy
But think
shit.
about from a
Like,
culture perspective, right? Like, forget all the politics or anything else. I spent a day trying to find a cello case big enough to fit a little person in. Because one of the skits was they were going to travel with a little person and they wanted to not pay for the ticket. They wanted to put him in the overhead and you could put a cello case in the overhead. This was a day I spent. Can you even fathom in 2025 a skit on live TV where you're putting a little human, a little person in a cello case to get through
you do
security?
realize also because it's 2025, you're calling them little person. You know what you
I don't
want to
know.
say.
Oh
You
yeah, I
know,
know.
you
We
know
used to
what
call.
you
Yeah,
want
you're
to
right.
call them, but
Yeah.
you can't say that
That's
anymore
true.
because it's
Wow, that's self-governor
2025.
on me. But
Okay.
think about that skit. Approved through a major network, no problem. John, go find the cello case. Like you couldn't do that. I was 22. I remember my friends calling me, like, what are you up to? They were like doing finance and running in
I'm
Hoboken,
not saying it's
getting
appropriate, but it definitely ages us too. Like
yeah.
apparently like you could throw ashtrays at people from across the office,
Oh,
okay,
I'm sure,
and
yeah.
and that would be okay too.
Well,
Nobody
how about
thought
even
of
ashtrays in
quitting.
the
Even not
audience?
only quitting, we didn't think of quitting, much
Yeah,
less suing. We didn't think of anything. We just thought,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
this is like we're going to war every single day,
yeah.
and this is what it's like to cut your teeth
It
in
was
an
a wild time,
industry,
man.
period, end of subject.
It was
Coffee's
just
not
a
hot enough, it could conceivably be flying across the room at you, okay.
dude. We had a monster producer on that show who they wanted fresh fruit every morning, and if he was late and the fruit was warm, it was your fault, and you had to go get all new fruit. And it was like, I don't understand. Like, we're putting it out at 9. And if you get here at 10:15 and it's warm, everybody else ate it when it was cold. There's no real answer for that other than you get here on time. Like, we never understood what the deal was, but you would just get your ass chewed out if it was this mangoes are warm. I remember we'd be like, what is wrong with this? What kind of person is this? You know? But those are
It
the guys
was
who ended up running shows.
Well, yes, it was part of the process. And
Yeah.
here's the thing, if you didn't do all those things or go through that, you wouldn't have the stories to tell today.
Yeah.
And that's like even
And
some of the
I
stuff
had to
I
give
tell
this
my
bit
kids. I'm
before.
like, hey, what you are going through or what you might be experiencing, good, bad, or indifferent, it is
Yeah.
all going to lead to you
Yeah.
having, again, back to being interesting and being interested, like going through all this stuff is what you kind of have to, need to, and should go through. I mean, some of it's a
I
little
agree.
excess in there too, but it's like, hey, like this is sometimes like what it takes
You
to.
have to see, you got to know what a horrible, horrendous boss is before you appreciate having a good one, or why you appreciate working for yourself, or all these kinds of things. I believe that there were people who couldn't take it. This isn't exactly like, Bud's week or something, but there were plenty of people who quit.
But
They
that's
just
what I
hated
always
it.
said. Here's the other thing. Just quit. I never understood this like, okay, everything's supposed to change just for me.
Yeah, we had plenty of
Here's the
guys
deal, like
quit,
it's
and
your
some of them
company, it's
quit.
your show, it's your whatever. Run it however you want to.
That was
It's
my
my
fault.
choice whether or not I want to stay here and put up
Yep.
with this. And it never dawned on me that one person could change your entire future anyway. Meaning, like, for every asshole producer out there who would do that, there was, I always thought, well, there's got to be some that aren't like this
There's got to be
as
some nice
well.
people, and
Right,
they
you just
were.
got to
Yeah.
go find them. So, like, if your choices don't work for the assholes, don't work for the assholes. Go find somebody who isn't, or stay with the asshole to get through the asshole to get to something else. And
Yeah.
and what actually happened to be true, and a lot of it was once you got past a certain stage or phase, even the assholes, like you graduated from him being an asshole to you. There
Well,
was
this
like
goes
a
all the way back
rite
to
of
our
passage
conversation.
again where
Yeah.
like to your point, like I've never been through buds and thank you for your service, guys, and you're all
Yeah.
remarkable. But I once you get through buds and you actually become a SEAL,
Right.
they still don't put you through buds again, is my point. They
Yeah,
don't
and it's
treat
like,
you like you're still out there keeping you cold, wet, and miserable all day for 7 days
yeah.
a week.
And then to our all the way back to the conversational liability stuff, you find these people who treated you one way and you have something in common that totally random, hometown thing you like, food, whatever it is. And then you become like, that's the reason to stay in touch. And it comes all full circle. Dude, like for me, I wrote that the Macho Man book last year, and cousin Sal, who's the nicest guy ever on the show anyway, and is one of the nicest guys ever anyway, endorsed the book because the only thing we talked about when I would have a bad day was wrestling. He's a giant Roddy Piper fan. He remembered it. We stayed loosely in touch over wrestling for 20 years now. And I was like, hey, I know you're a wrestling fan. I thought you liked this book. You loved it. And it's like, that was from that job that I was like, whatever. I met a guy who was awesome and has been nice throughout. And it comes full circle in the weirdest ways possible sometimes. So the experiences are worth it.
Yes, they are. How to not be a conversational liability. Your Manologue on the unlimited expense account, Costco. You can check out the best suit for around $1,000, whether you're wearing it to a funeral or not.
Funeral, wedding, all good.
All good. Thank you for the comment, sir. Wherever you are out
Yeah,
there. Fair point. Made it. Or how I see it is with Chef Mark Allison, which we didn't really get a chance to talk about on this, but
yeah,
Mark's a pretty incredible guy who
yeah.
has
He's
been
interesting.
through a lot. And I really enjoyed that interview with him. He's got great perspective on appreciation for life and loss and love and turning his health around and his boys and everything. So that was pretty significant. And this was a good issue. This was a good
I
week.
really was the as always our juxtaposition between the topics really works well, and we can tell it in the numbers and the people in the you get comments like, "Hey man, that might be poor taste." I get comments like, "What's the most chicken bakes you ever ate in a day, Finkel?" So we really get different comments from our readers.
That we do, but keep them all coming because we welcome them
Yes,
all.
I
And
love
what
them
I'm going
all.
to do is I'm going to start answering John's comments. He's going to start answering mine.
Yes,
And then
perfect.
it's going to get really, really interesting.
Get weird.
All right. Until next week, this is Midlife Lately. All you got to do to get the Midlife Mail newsletter dropped in your inbox every Sunday. And by the way, if you're a super subscriber, you're going to get the middle, which is my Wednesday weekly midlife story and personal recommendation out there. All you got to do is subscribe. And we're going to put the link and all those things in the show notes, however you get to them. I don't know. You'll figure that part out overall. So you can do this. But midlifemail.com, we're on Beehive. The links are in here. Subscribe to the newsletter, get it dropped in every single week. And what we always say, just start living happier and healthier and wealthier and stronger and having more fun in midlife and not taking this stuff so seriously.
You
I
got
think
it.
that's pretty much it, right?
That's it. Yeah. And, we've told you now the times to go to Costco. So listen to us. We're smart.
There's enough serious, like really serious out there. We'll
Yeah.
give you both. We'll go narrow and deep, but we'll give you the shallow and wide as well. All
Love
right. Until next week, this is Midlife Lately. It'll still be Midlife Lately next week.
it. All
Take
right.
care.
See you guys.